Welcome back to The Explainer. Right now, we're unpacking a massive, fast-moving political shockwave straight out of Washington. We're looking at the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran, but through a very specific legislative lens. We're going to break down the sudden, decisive move by the U.S. House of Representatives to actively limit President Trump's war powers. So we'll look at the exact details of the legislation, the underlying executive strategies, and the bipartisan ripples this is causing across the government. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right now, the entire international community is looking at this situation and asking one massive overarching question. Will the war in Iran stop? You know, this isn't just some theoretical debate. It's an active, real-world standoff with immense consequences. So throughout this explainer, we're going to explore the complete action-reaction impact arc of this whole event. We'll trace the sudden legislative block, explore the administration's private strategic reactions, and look at what this all means for the future of global security.
Section 1. Trump gets a shock from Congress. The exact nature of this political blow is highly specific. The U.S. House has passed a resolution that severely restricts the president's immediate military capabilities. First up, it states that the president cannot continue the war in Iran. And second, and perhaps even more critically, it dictates that he cannot order any new military strikes without explicit congressional permission. Make no mistake, this is a massive political blow to the executive branch. It's a highly unusual intervention by Congress, really meant to put a hard stop on unilateral military action.
Section 2. Trump's Red Line.
Now, a crucial report from the Wall Street Journal has brought a very specific private insight to light. It reveals that President Trump has privately communicated a strict red line to his closest allies. The administration's stance is that they'll consider ending the current ceasefire and launching an all-out war with Iran only under one specific condition, and that is if Tehran kills American soldiers. By defining this trigger strictly in private circles, it shows us exactly what the administration's ultimate threshold really is for further military escalation.
To truly understand why this defined red line matters so much, we have to look at the immediate context on the ground. Because despite continuous violent clashes and incredibly high regional tensions, American airstrikes have actually been paused for weeks. A deliberate operational pause is holding. This tells us that the executive branch is currently exercising a level of restraint, closely monitoring the volatile situation to see if that specific red line, the loss of American life, is crossed before taking further action.
Section 3. Rebellion in the Republican Party. And this brilliantly illustrates just how deep those political fractures go. The number 4. 4 Republican lawmakers actively crossed the aisle to side with the Democrats, casting their votes in favor of this resolution to limit the president's war powers. In today's hyperpolarized political environment, seeing members of the president's own party defect on a major national security issue, that is a massive signal. It indicates a very real, growing discomfort within Trump's political base.
The crucial point here is understanding why this unease is spreading among his allies. The military campaign and the heightened military posture against Iran has now exceeded 3 months. As this timeline stretches on without a definitive, secure resolution, the apprehension within the Republican Party just continues to grow. These lawmakers are increasingly wary of a prolonged, open-ended conflict, and they're signaling a demand for traditional congressional oversight.
Section 4. What happens next?
So, let's look at the exact legislative mechanism the House is attempting to enforce. According to this resolution, the president is directed to immediately withdraw U.S. troops from hostilities with Iran unless one of 2 strict conditions is met. Step 1. Congress officially declares war. Or Step 2. Congress explicitly authorizes military action. Through this, lawmakers are aggressively asserting their constitutional authority over war powers.
But we absolutely need to do a quick reality check here. As bold and historic as the House vote is, it's currently, largely symbolic. Why? Because to become a binding law that actually forces the president's hand, this resolution has to secure approval from the U.S. Senate. So, the House vote was a powerful first step, for sure, but it faces a steep, complex legislative climb before it has any true legal teeth.
Naturally, the framing of this resolution is highly contested in Washington. Let's impartially compare the 2 dominant arguments. On one side, the Trump administration firmly argues that maintaining an aggressive posture to stop Iran's nuclear program is absolutely vital for U.S. national security. Conversely, strong Republican supporters view this entire House resolution not as a matter of constitutional duty, but simply as a calculated political strategy deployed by Democrats to undermine the president. So these 2 competing narratives are clashing head-on.
Ultimately, despite the differing narratives, the passage of this resolution sends an undeniable message.
The political consensus in Washington regarding military action against Iran is weakening, which leaves us with this final thought-provoking question to consider. Will this growing bipartisan pressure in Washington actually force a change in President Trump's Iran policy, or will executive authority ultimately prevail? Consider how this power struggle shapes not just American politics, but global stability. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking the facts, and I'll catch you in the next one.